I think we are in the wild west of artificial intelligence.
We as a group are not necessarily the best at embracing change.
What about our security issues? That's freaking me out.
I think eventually people are going to realize that they're going to be at a competitive disadvantage if they're not using it.
Welcome back to Face Value, a podcast from the Appraisal Institute. I'm Warren Boizot, your co-host, and it feels like you can't go a single day without hearing about artificial intelligence or possibly even using it. It's writing emails, creating images, and promising a change for every industry. For appraisers, it brings up a lot of questions and some worry. Is it a threat or is it an opportunity? Tonia, it looks like you're visiting today from your backyard in Queens, New York.
So my backyard today is the sunny St. John, U.S. Virgin Island. I'm here on vacation with my family, but I couldn't miss the opportunity to tackle the topic of AI, artificial intelligence, head on. This episode of Face Value is about the AI on AI. That is the Appraisal Institute's take on artificial intelligence. And to help us, we are thrilled to welcome two leading experts, Mark Linne and Maureen Mahoney. Mark and Maureen are here today not just to demystify AI, but also to give us a preview of a brand new course that the Appraisal Institute, is launching to equip appraisers with the knowledge they need to thrive. We'll get into the details, including how you can sign up for the premiere of the course on October 21st. Mark and Maureen, can you please introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Maureen Mahoney. I am the Director of Education for the Appraisal Institute. Joined this amazing organization in January and really excited to bring this new programming to the organization.
And I'm Mark Linne. I've been a commercial appraiser for the last, I had to think about that a moment ago, 40 years. I do primarily Colorado work. I also do litigation, lender work. But for the last 7 years, I've been involved with the Appraisal Institute's education on artificial intelligence and retooled our current course offering, which is Artificial Intelligence, Blockchain, and the Metaverse in 2024. And have been presenting it. And now we're moving forward with this fabulous new incarnation, which is, as Tonia was saying, AI on AI. So very excited to be here today.
But Mark, you forgot your most important resume bullet point, which is a returning Face Value guest.
Yes. You know, I appreciate the opportunity to come back again because I had such a great time. This is such a wonderful benefit for Appraisal Institute members and all those who are interested in what's going on. But thank you for having me back. And I'm looking forward to, having a good time, but also conveying some great information to the listeners.
And Mark, before we get on to the AI on AI, can you tell us a little bit about the blockchain course? Because I haven't taken it, but I know a lot of people have, and I'm sure it's still out there. But can you give us just a brief synopsis of what that course entails?
We begin with a few hours of artificial intelligence, then we move into blockchain, where we really look at all the different aspects of disintermediation in the marketplace, how the market has fundamentally changed, and how now money is in the crosshairs, how we're actually decentralizing money and what the implications are. And the reason that is tied into the artificial intelligence course is because, as we become more and more digital, our identities and our private information can be very effectively safeguarded with blockchain technology. And then the course ends with the metaverse. And that's really where blockchain and artificial intelligence kind of come together. And it's kind of how we're going to be both recreating and educating and communicating and interacting with one another in the future.
So how does this go into appraising?
I'll tell you, as I view artificial intelligence, which is really, it's a set of technologies that mimic the human mind and do all sorts of processes that hitherto it wasn't really possible to do that. And so everything that we can do, artificial intelligence can replicate in large measure. So when we're looking at appraisal reports, when we're looking at the appraisal function, all the things that we do right now, like research, analysis, gathering information, All of those can be helped, I think, by artificial intelligence. And I think that's how it's going to be used most effectively moving forward in the future. It's not going to be we're going to press a button and it's going to write a narrative appraisal for us. But I think what it will do is help us perform many parts of the appraisal process, and I think make us more efficient and effective appraisers.
This question is for either of you, but how can appraisers start using AI tools to improve their efficiency and analysis like right away, even at the beginner level?
Well, I think there are so many simple things you could do. I mean, it's such a powerful technology, but it's also a very approachable technology. And I'll just give you some examples. It's like your favorite research assistant. It could, we all hire or potentially have the ability to hire research assistants. We've done that for decades. But AI is a research assistant that never tires, that does what you tell it to do, and is very effective at research. We can summarize data. What I do frequently, I'm inundated by information, articles and videos, and just so many different things. I can have AI, I can have generative AI summarize that information for me in bullet points or summarize it in paragraphs so that I don't have to read an entire 10-page article to know what was in it. I don't have to necessarily go through an entire 100-page lease or a 100-page legal brief. I can have it summarized for me. And to me, that's an incredible time saver. And I think if you do nothing else, you can use artificial intelligence in those ways that I think are incredibly powerful, no matter how recently you began looking at artificial intelligence to use in your practice.
Maureen, everyone talks about AI, but what programs is the Appraisal Institute recommending for us appraisers to use? Because right now I just know about ChatGPT. I don't know how they work. Do we need a membership? Are there free programs? What exactly is out there for us?
We are in the wild west of artificial intelligence. The institute I don't have any official recommendations or anything, but I think you should start somewhere. And I definitely think that there is this like fear of AI and what it is if you've never used it. I say hop in, create an account. I like Chat GPT. That's a great one to start with, to go with there. But we can provide a list of some platforms that other members or other colleagues of ours have used. Like there's Gemini, there's Notebook, there's Copilot. It's kind of everywhere, but you want to start somewhere. You want to be wary of those free accounts too, because that's usually what what gets sent to all of these organizations. All the information that you put in there can be used for. It says learning the platform. So if you pay for a subscription, it usually is contained into, it's like the premium version. So, you just want to be aware of where your information is going and what is out there. But I always say, use it in your personal life. There are a lot of things that you can do, whether it's putting meal plans together or even just responding to emails. And everybody always says, oh, just Google it. Back in the day, it's like, oh, just Google it. Well, now it's, okay, did you check with ChatGPT? It's going to give you more information now rather than just a Google search of a list of things. So, I just say play with it.
Maureen and I were talking the other day. We have a friend, a member of the Institute, who had never used any kind of generative AI before. And I just pointed out to her that on her desktop, if she had any kind of Microsoft environment, that there's an icon. It's that little rainbow icon in the top right-hand corner. And I said, just click it. And literally, that was 3 or 4 weeks ago. And just in the last week, we were having a call, and she sent us after the call this remarkable, sophisticated script that she had put together with Copilot, after 3 weeks of experience that blew me away, just blew me away. So it doesn't take a lot to do this. You just have to start.
Yeah, and I was going to ask about Copilot, because I know Copilot is Microsoft based. Is that included with your, Siegel, is Copilot included with your standard Microsoft account, the 365?
It is a part of Office 365. And the benefit, they all have different benefits. Maureen was mentioning ChatGPT, which is incredibly powerful and has a lot of different aspects to it. And there's Perplexity and there's Claude, and there's just so many of them. The interesting thing about Copilot, though it has other kinds of limitations, none of them are perfect, but it is integrated into every Microsoft product. So if you use Word, if you use Excel, if you use PowerPoint, all of those function within the ecosystem of Copilot. And you can see that as you're typing a Word document, how it is suggesting the rest of the sentence for you, how it's suggesting new words for you, how PowerPoint helps you to design slides now. And that's all Copilot working in the background.
Earlier, Maureen mentioned in her voice, and that resonated with me because I remember taking a course with Rodman Schley from the Colorado chapter also, where the one that he uses, over time kind of learns the way you write. And then over time, literally, it sounds just like you're writing it. And it's incredible. And I'm probably way behind on that, but that's incredible to me. It's kind of like the early days of appraisers adopting their laser measures, where you just use the one function and it really has about 50 on there, but you just use the one from wall to wall. And it's like, you can explore many more things, but yeah, just the fact that you can find that it will take on your voice and the way that you write, that's incredible.
Well, and there's an analogy there too. I mean, it can take on your voice if you give it samples, but I was telling someone it can also literally take on your voice because you can give it voice samples. And I had this experience where something that I had written, I went ahead, gave it some voice samples, and then I had it read what I had written. And if you want to hear something uncanny, have yourself, listening to yourself, reading something that you've never said out loud before. And I thought it sounded exactly like me. Now, my wife said, no, I could tell it wasn't you, but I listened to it and it sounded exactly like me.
Now you're scaring me. What about our security issues? That's like freaking me out.
That's all part of this program. I think what we're all talking about, it's like, oh, I need to start. What are all the downfalls of this? These are all part of the conversations that we're going to have. How is it going to help us? How is it going to destroy us? What do you need to be aware of that's out there, like the deep fakes of voices and video? It's out there now. The worms are already out of the can. So how can we move together with all the chaos, right? And make sense of it in an ethical and responsible way. I think that is a real kind of an important factor of this program that we're doing is we want to make this a safe space for anybody at all levels, whether you're AI curious or if you are like way advanced. I think if we all get together and kind of make sense of it together and how we can move forward as a profession to use it to our advantage, but also be aware of all of the things and the symptoms and that come with it.
So this is a phenomenally different, out of the box kind of educational process for the Institute to go into. And I think we're by far the first within valuation space, but I would argue we're one of the first organizationally to do something for members that is hands-on. How do you survive in this new world and how do you prosper in this world?
Mark, are you premiering this course on October 21st?
I am the host of this variety show, but supported by a team of I think more than 12 people from the Institute, both staff and members. So, I mean, this is phenomenal. And this is like the best our organization has to offer, all working together. And we have been working since April to make this happen and to figure out, what it is we need to give to members. Because let me just speak for a second about the genesis of this. It was because as I was teaching this course, we realized that there was so much more that everybody wanted to learn that went way beyond a 7-hour course. And also the fact that this course, I joke about this, but it has 443 slides. I've had to rewrite 200 of them over the course since the premiere in Denver 18 months ago. That's how quickly this whole topic has changed. And so we said, listen, we need to do something on a monthly basis that lets appraisers learn and learn from one another which is the important thing, because Maureen has talked about this kind of ecosystem here of everyone sharing their knowledge, sharing things that work, things that don't work, new innovations that they found. I mean, just think about 3,000 of your closest friends all giving you advice in real time on how to make your work process better.
Yeah, it's so important, Mark, that you're doing this because, and I have to tread lightly here when I'm talking about my colleagues, but this is my second career. 28 years ago, I did other things. So I have a perspective of knowing appraisers. And then I also know people that aren't appraisers and what they do. And we as a group are not necessarily the best at embracing change for whatever reason. Appraisers specifically don't really embrace change. So this is something that's probably going to freak a lot out.
And even I would say out of the number, probably 5 or 6% of that class, we're using it every day, which is good because that's what we really should be doing over time, using it more and more to make our personal and our professional lives better. So I think eventually people are going to realize that they're going to be at a competitive disadvantage if they're not using it.
There is such an opportunity right now to kind of, we're being forced to change. I mean, I think with the start of the pandemic, that kind of moved things forward. We've had to really reimagine the way we work, and that's across all industries in general. And so put AI, artificial intelligence on top of all that stuff. And now we're really going to start moving and, there's so many data centers that are coming up. So there are so many different aspects. And what we want to get out of this program is, while we're going to be looking at this through an appraisal lens, we want to talk about all the other things that it can help you with from a business development standpoint. Like, how can you automate your business better? What are some other tips and tricks that you can use that, the day-to-day stuff that AI can now do? I mean, we're all kind of leveling up as a society, I think, of, it's like, before email, we were all writing letters to each other and, hard faxes. So now when email came around, that changed the way we communicate. And so now with artificial intelligence, it's going to be a different way of communicating as well. I mean, I sometimes just put my emails through and I say, I need to respond to this person. It's the end of the day. I need to get this, and this point across. And then it just generates the email that I want, exactly how I want it, because I've been working with it. It knows my voice now. And now it's sent, a nice email that, I probably needed 30 minutes to kind of put my brain together, so it's just helping you move a little faster and taking away some of the things that you don't need to be worried about anymore. You have the system that can do it for you.
How does using these new tools fit with the USPAP framework? Do appraisers need to verify AI generated output and take ownership of the final conclusions? How does that all work?
Yes, that's a simple answer. Absolutely. Advisory opinion 37, which is all we really have today that kind of touches on this, is very clear. If you have technology tools like this, if you're relying on technology tools, you have responsibilities. You have confidentiality responsibilities. You have competency responsibilities. And I think that the Appraisal Standards Board is going to, provide additional guardrails and guidance. But right now, I think if you look at AO 37, it just is, it's quite clear on what you should and should not do. But I think you need to validate and verify everything. Especially the more you rely on something in your reports or in your processes, the more you need to validate and verify, because you are responsible for every word in your appraisal. And you can't just blithely say, oh, well, that's what I got from ChatGPT.
How is this course coming up, this new course? How is it different than the normal Appraisal Institute course?
I think what's really interesting about this course is we're doing everything about how we are delivering education in this particular sense. This isn't going to just be, Mark Linne droning on about something. Okay. This is going to be interactive snippets. We're going to do so many different things. We're going to have a leaderboard so that you can have interactive activities and we can see the people who are participating in the call, who is really getting it, who can work a better prompt, who can take a bad prompt and make it better, who can have the most exciting experience, how can they share that information with us. So this isn't, this is going to be an interactive exercise, and it's going to allow you to learn in a way that you never have before. We're also going to have incredible resources at the back end. So we're going to share this information, and then we're going to store the information so you as an appraiser have access to it at any time.
Maureen, I was going to ask you, how do appraisers sign up for this program? And is it going to be ongoing? Is this something that we can work with the Appraisal Institute on getting involved with? Because it doesn't sound like it's so much a course, because we have the AI and blockchain, but this is a new program. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, this is because technology is moving so quickly. We're not putting this through CE approval or anything. This is purely for us to connect and learn together about artificial intelligence. And like Mark said, have kind of a framework of what we have, topics of what we're going to do. So we'll have a link to the landing page with more information about what the course is. It starts October 21st, which is it's the third Tuesday of the month. And we're going to have these every third Tuesday of the month until March. So the last day is March 17th of St. Patty's Day. So we'll have a big, maybe AI St. Patty's Day celebration at the end. But, we're allowing about 2 hours per session. And we're also opening up a private LinkedIn group that you will be invited to kind of connect and share in between classes. So, Mark will give us some homework and then come in the LinkedIn group. Tell us what you did that month or that week, what worked well, what didn't work. So we really want to make it a safe space for everybody to connect and learn with one another. We're going to leave registration open the entire time. All of these courses will be recorded. So if you pay for the registration and maybe you're coming in halfway, you'll have access to the recordings of the last, 3 sessions that we did. You're invited to the private LinkedIn group, and you don't really will, miss anything. And we just wanted to create that space where we're kind of all in it together.
We've realized that lunch for some is breakfast for others. So what time will this be in?
Yes. An early 10 o'clock Pacific, noon Central Time.
As soon as I made the suggestion, Tonia, that you grab somebody, literally no one has walked by.
I've been looking. I'm waiting. Do you want me to grab somebody? There's plenty of people sitting out. I'm going to grab somebody and see if they want to be on a podcast.
It would be hilarious, I think.
Excuse me? I know you guys are probably waiting for your room, but I'm filming a podcast on artificial intelligence. Would you guys like to be on it? Absolutely. Oh, I got a taker. Hold on. I'm going to set this up.
Hey, Warren.
Hey, what's going on? Introduce yourself. Where are you from?
All right, so Brad Stroop from Birmingham, Alabama. And we are now meeting in St. John, Virgin Islands.
Nice. So we are doing a podcast today specific to artificial intelligence with regard to appraisals, real estate appraisal. And so tell us, though, in your world, in your profession, first of all, what it is and how you use it on a daily basis.
So how we use AI, that's funny. We have to use AI for a lot of things right now. They're forcing us to put information into our chat bot, right? To feed it information to get it more, I guess more intelligent. But the way I've used AI is it's helped me correlate information, like, different products, different pros and cons, different product lines, and bring it all together in a pretty much simple format.
That is awesome. Thank you guys so much. We've never done this before, and it's great. So thank you so much.
Maureen, just give us an update on the takes of the course, the date, like Tuesday, October 21st, every Tuesday through March 17th, maybe the cost and how they register and where it is on the website.
So the link will be available on our website, where we'll have a landing page with more information and where you can register. So for members, for the 6 months, it's $185 for members, and for non-members, $205. So, getting 6 months worth of courses, you'll get the recordings, you get access to our private LinkedIn group with the AI on AI community, to be with other trailblazers. And yeah, we're ready to get going. We'll probably open up the LinkedIn group a couple weeks before we start, so we can just start the conversation and get ready. And we like to hear from those who are getting ready to take the course and where you are, where you're starting, so we can kind of have an idea. And we want to know what you all want to learn. So it's just an area for us to kind of chat and kind of get an idea of what you all want to learn moving forward.
Well, Mark and Maureen, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast. It was actually very fun for me to learn about AI and how to incorporate it into my job.
Maureen, Mark, thank you so much. So exciting. And thank you to our listeners who can catch us on Spotify and YouTube. If you're a watcher, if you're a listener, there's different ways of doing that. And if someone had an amazing idea like this, Tonia, where would they reach us?
Yeah, so thank you guys for joining us. And please send all your emails to Warren and myself at facevalue@appraisalinstitute.org. And we'll see you on the next podcast. Thank you, everyone.